This is a very important message for you today. Do not ignore it. Pay attention to this message. My beloved child, listen carefully. If you trust in God, type Amen. There are moments that arrive not with noise, but with stillness. Not with warning, but with presence. This is one of those moments. Because this isn't just a message, it's a doorway. A doorway into something you weren't supposed to find until your spirit was strong enough to carry it. And now, heaven has decided, you're ready. Not just to know the truth, but to feel the love behind it. Archangel Michael does not speak loudly. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't deliver this like a command. He holds it in reverence. A letter. Soft. Folded. Sacred. Not written on paper, but on the breath of a woman who loved you with everything she had, and still felt like it wasn't enough. Your mother. Her soul never wanted to leave without saying what this letter holds. But life, pain, circumstance, silence, it all got in the way. And now, through divine timing, through the stillness of your heart, she speaks, not to haunt, not to reopen wounds, but to hold you one more time. My child, her voice begins, not from some faraway place, but from the memory of her touch, her warmth, her scent lingering in quiet corners of the house. If you're reading this, then heaven has allowed me one more gift. The gift I never knew how to give while I was there with you, the gift of full honesty. Not filtered by time or fear. Just love, just truth, just me. I carried so much, she continues. Not just in my hands, but in my heart. Things I didn't know how to explain. Hurts I never wanted to pass on to you, but sometimes did, without meaning to. I hope you know, I was doing the best I could with the love I had, the love I understood. But there's more I wish I had said. You can feel her now, can't you? Not just her words, but her presence. Not the tired version of her. Not the worried one. Not the one worn down by life. But her soul, strong, clear, full of the love she never knew how to fully show. I saw the way you looked at me sometimes, she says. With questions in your eyes. Wondering why I wasn't softer. Why I didn't say what I really felt. Why I pulled away when I should have held you closer. And I'm sorry. I was afraid. Afraid of breaking open too far. Afraid of letting you see my own pain. Archangel Michael stands silently, his presence honoring her words like a sacred scroll unrolling, delicate, holy, untouchable by time. He doesn't interrupt. He doesn't translate. Because the language of love between a mother and child needs no translator. It lives in memory. In energy. In what was felt even when it wasn't said. I was proud of you, she continues. More than I knew how to say. And now that I've seen your journey from this side of the veil, I see it all. I see your strength, your loyalty, your sensitivity, your tired moments, your brave ones. I see everything, and I hold no regrets, except that I didn't tell you sooner how deeply I loved you. Not for what you did, not for what you achieved, but just because you're you. You're crying now. Or maybe not on the outside, but something inside you is melting, releasing. Because these are the words your soul waited for without knowing it. The kind of words that don't change what happened, but change how you carry it. And in this sacred pause, Archangel Michael gently folds the letter again, not to hide it, but because it has entered your heart now. It no longer needs to be read, it lives in you. And he speaks the first words since she began. She didn't leave with silence. She left with love. And heaven waited for the day you were ready to hear it, not with pain, but with peace. She pauses. Not because she's done, but because this part, the part she's about to say, was the hardest for her to hold all these years. Even now, from a place of peace, her words tremble with emotion. You can feel it. The kind of tremble that doesn't come from weakness, but from love that stayed too long in silence. I wasn't always the mother you needed, she says, gently. And that's the truth I couldn't admit when I was alive. I thought love meant showing up in all the ways I knew, even if they weren't the ways you needed. I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't know how to let myself be held. And so, I often held too tightly, or not at all. And you felt it. I know you did. She pauses again. You can almost hear her voice break, not in shame, but in softness. There were days I saw you hurting and didn't know how to reach you. Days you needed me to sit down and ask the real questions, but I was lost in my own storms. And now, from here, I see how brave you were. How you kept smiling even when your heart was tired. How you kept loving me even when I gave you fragments. Archangel Michael's hand rests quietly near you, not touching, just near. As if to say, you don't have to hold this alone. His presence doesn't crowd. It comforts. Because what your soul is hearing now isn't just a letter, it's a memory being rewritten. Not erased, but expanded. It's the missing piece that allows the pain to exhale and become understanding. I want you to know, she continues, you didn't imagine the tension. You weren't too sensitive. You weren't too emotional. You were just honest in a family that didn't always know how to be. And I'm so sorry I didn't protect that part of you better. That I didn't say, your emotions are welcome. Your questions are safe. Your voice matters. These are the things you've carried quietly, long after she was gone. The internal wondering, was it my fault? Did I expect too much? Did she know how deeply I loved her, even in the confusion? And now, you have your answer. Not from the lips of a ghost, but from the soul of a mother who sees you fully now. And loves you even more because of that seeing. I never stopped loving you, she says now. Not even when I was silent. Not even when I looked away. Not even in the moments I was hardest to reach. I was always watching, even after I left. Every breakthrough, every tear, every victory, I've seen it. I've cheered in silence. I've held your name in the halls of heaven. And now you sit with these words, not as a child needing answers, but as a soul receiving grace. Grace for her. Grace for you. Grace for everything that was misunderstood. Because this letter is not just about the past, it's about release. Archangel Michael closes this part with a truth spoken directly to your heart. She sees you. She loves you. And now, with this letter opened, she can finally rest in peace, knowing you no longer carry the questions alone. There is a silence after her words now. Not heavy, not uncertain, just holy. The kind of silence that doesn't ask to be filled, because it's already full. Full of truth. Full of warmth. Full of all the things you longed to hear but never thought you would. And now, what once felt unfinished, feels known. And she speaks again, but this time her voice is different, less weighted by regret, more lifted by love. I didn't just write this to apologize, she says. I wrote it to remind you who you are. Her words come slowly, like light easing into a dark room. You've always been more than what our house gave you. More than the silence. More than the tension. More than the gaps in our understanding. You are love in motion. You are grace that walks. You are strength I could never find in myself, but I saw it in you, every day. Archangel Michael stands nearby, not distant, but still. His wings are not spread in defense now, but in reverence. Reverence for a mother's final gift, not her things, not her traditions, but her voice, freed from time. You've become everything I hoped I could be, she continues. Not in perfection, but in presence. I see the way you love. I see how deeply you care. I see how you carry others even while your own arms are tired. I see how you keep showing up, for people, for yourself, for life, even when no one claps for you. That's what makes you extraordinary. That's what makes you mine. And now she shifts, speaking not from memory, but from spirit. I know you've wondered if I see you. If I still visit. If I still linger in the places where you cry alone. The answer is yes. Every single time. Every whisper of my name, every flash of memory, every time you reach for a photo or light a candle, I'm there. not as a ghost, but as love, still alive, still with you. She pauses, and you can feel her energy now, not separate, not gone. Just different. Transformed. And what she says next holds more than comfort, it holds calling. You weren't meant to stay in the pain. You were born to rise through it. To use it, not to punish yourself, but to remember the value of tenderness, of honesty, of staying soft in a world that tried to harden you. You are the cycle breaker, the story shifter, the one who brings light into the places that taught you to live in shadow. Archangel Michael nods gently, his voice the first to break through her words. She gave you life once. But this letter is her second gift, new breath, not for survival, but for freedom. And she closes with what she never said clearly enough in life, but now says with heaven behind her, I am proud of you. Not just for what you've done, but for how you've become. Keep becoming. Don't stop. I'll be watching from where I am, every step. I'll meet you again, not in sorrow, but in glory. She's still here, not in the way the world defines presence, not in the way that touches your skin or speaks out loud, but in the way only a soul can remain, steady, soft, surrounding you in moments when you least expect it. And now, as the last lines of her heart unfold, she isn't whispering regret. She's breathing out blessing. You feel it already, not as a rush, but as a warmth settling over your shoulders, a knowing that doesn't need proof anymore. Her voice returns, this time stronger, clearer, lighter. My child, I couldn't always protect you. But I see now, you didn't need protection. You needed truth. You needed someone to say what I'm saying now, you are not broken. You never were. You are a masterpiece that grew in the cracks. You are the answer to every silent prayer I was too afraid to speak. Archangel Michael steps forward, not to interrupt, but to carry the weight of these final words. His presence does not overwhelm. It surrounds. Like a shield of peace wrapping around everything that once made you feel exposed. He speaks gently, reverently, as if reading the words now etched into your spirit, not from paper but from heaven itself. She leaves you not with instructions, but with inheritance. Not wealth of the world, but wealth of the soul. You carry not just her blood, you carry her strength, her softness, her sacred becoming. What she could not finish in her lifetime, you now walk forward and complete, not for her, but because it's already alive in you. You hear her again, one last time, and now she speaks not just as your mother, but as your witness, your believer, your sacred thread to the eternal. I want you to promise me something, not in grief, but in grace. Promise me you won't let this pain turn you into a version of yourself that forgets how to feel. Don't close your heart to protect it. Don't silence your voice to keep the peace. You are not here to disappear. You are here to be seen. And you are more than ready now. Every scar on your heart has become a map leading others out of their own darkness. Every loss has turned into the wisdom that pours through your eyes. Don't you dare hide anymore. The world needs what I saw in you every day, even when I didn't say it. And now, she is still, not because she's gone, but because she's given everything she came to say. Archangel Michael turns toward you with a clarity only heaven could give, and he says, "What began as her final letter has become your new beginning. Do not live in mourning. Live in motion. Do not wait for permission to be fully alive. She already gave it. Now walk, not in shadow, but in light. And know this, every time your chest tightens and you whisper her name, every time the world feels too heavy and your soul aches to be held, she will be there. In the wind. In the memory. In the part of you that never stopped being hers. And with that, the letter is not closed, it is kept. Not on a shelf. Not in a drawer. But within you. A living letter. A final blessing. A forever light. There is a moment, after the tears have dried and the silence has settled, where you're left with a choice, not to forget, but to begin again. Not in rebellion against the past, but in reverence for what it taught you. And here you are now, standing in that very moment. The letter has been read. The emotions have been felt. The weight has been honored. And now, something unexpected begins to stir, lightness. Not the kind that ignores grief, but the kind that finally knows how to live beside it, instead of beneath it. Archangel Michael stands quietly, not with a sword drawn, but with his hands open. You sense it, he's not here to protect you from what's ahead. He's here because you no longer need protecting from the past. That's the difference. You've carried the grief, the guilt, the unanswered questions long enough. And now, heaven gives you permission to carry something else, joy. Your mother's voice lingers, not in sorrow, but in peace. It's no longer tied to memory, it's tied to movement. You can feel her in the wind now, not heavy like before, but soft, like a hand resting gently on your shoulder as you step outside and choose life again. Not because you've moved on, but because you've finally understood what she meant in her last words. Don't hide. Don't shrink. Don't wait. You begin to see your world differently now. The same streets, the same faces, but a new way of walking through it all. You're no longer chasing approval, no longer bracing for loss. You're grounded. Rooted. Her love didn't die. It transformed. And now it lives in how you speak kindly, even to yourself. It lives in how you rest without guilt. How you stand up straighter, not to prove anything, but because you remember who you are now. Archangel Michael speaks gently, his words full of knowing. The greatest honor you can give to her life is to live yours fully. Not in shadow. Not in silence. But in the bold peace of someone who knows their soul is being watched over, still, always, lovingly. This new season doesn't come with grand gestures. It begins in small ways. Waking up and choosing to open the curtains. Smiling when you remember something sweet. Laughing without apology. Forgiving yourself for what you didn't know then. Loving again, not because it's safe, but because your heart is finally strong enough to hold it without fear. Her love has become your foundation now. Not as a crutch, but as wings. You are not healing anymore, you are healed enough to begin. And in that beginning, you realize, you never really lost her. She just became part of your becoming. Archangel Michael's final words in this part are not instructions. They are a gentle reminder, like sunlight after a long storm. Go live now. Go love. Go become. She didn't just leave you a letter. She left you a map, back to yourself. You didn't realize it then, not when you were walking through grief, or trying to make sense of her silence, or even when you first read her final words, but something changed. Something subtle yet undeniable. It wasn't loud like a miracle. It didn't come wrapped in signs and wonders. But it happened. Your soul shifted. A part of you that had been folded up for years quietly unfolded and stretched back into the light. And now, you begin to see what she saw in you long before you could see it in yourself. There is a gift you carry. Not one given by the world, not one earned by effort, but something placed deep within your spirit from the very beginning. Something your mother always knew, even when she couldn't find the words to name it. She saw the way you lit up rooms without trying. She felt the way your presence brought calm. She witnessed your quiet strength, the kind that doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. And even in her silence, she whispered to heaven, "Don't let the world make them forget who they are." Archangel Michael walks beside you now, not as a protector anymore, but as a witness to your rising. You feel his presence not as pressure, but as confirmation. That voice inside you that says, "You were made for more," is no longer imagination, it's inheritance. You've always had the ability to feel deeply. To hear what others ignore. To love even when it hurts. But now those traits no longer feel like burdens. They feel like callings. Your sensitivity isn't weakness, it's your gift. Your empathy isn't your flaw, it's your ministry. Your intuition isn't overthinking, it's divine alignment. These are the very things your mother prayed would survive in you. And they have. And now, you are not just walking forward, you're becoming a light for others. You're speaking softly in rooms that once silenced you. You're forgiving where the past once begged you to stay angry. You're guiding others, not with perfection, but with presence. And you're doing it all without even realizing how powerful it is. Michael speaks now, not to command, but to affirm. What you thought was survival was preparation. You've been entrusted with more than memories. You carry a legacy of love. And now, the world needs what you've discovered. Your mother's voice returns, not in grief, but in glory. Go where your heart is drawn. Trust what you feel. Speak what I couldn't. Live as if love was watching, because it is. I'm still here, not just above, but within. Every time you love, every time you forgive, every time you shine, I live through you. You're not alone in this. You're not just healing anymore. You're leading, loving, lighting the path ahead. And as you step into this next chapter, know this: your life, exactly as it is now, is already someone else's answered prayer. If you believe in God, type Amen or 444 or 555 or 000 111. Subscribe for more videos.